Hello there, fellow metallurgists. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Humanica. Episode 6, Smelting Ores and Making Tools. Still haven't built my barn, so it's maybe time to consider that. So let's get an ancient barn, and I'll plop it here, I guess, is fine. And these farmers are going to be fired. There's nothing for them to do right now. There's no seeds to process or whatever, so you're done. So we don't have a lot of food, but I put all the fishermen back to work, and I'm collecting like everything, all the bounty of the forest within the vicinity. And starting to put in millstones and stone ovens again. So it's only a matter of time until we have a sufficient amount of food supply. Actually, let's not do that. Gotta lower it in pieces so that we don't, like, have it, the last one be impossible to lower. Nice! Alright, foragers and hunters, get to it. So, we got the harvest, and this time, I am not going to be making straw. We'll use all of the grain, because we are sitting on a bunch of straw. We'll use all the grain to actually bake bread. And here we go. Scouts are re-entered. And I don't think I'm going to re-send the scouts out just yet. Because I don't have a lot of food, so I'd rather have a labor pool here at home to be able to make sure that I'm supplying enough food for everyone to be fine for the harvest. So I think this year, because I really ran the food low, I'm not gonna whatever seeds we yield. I'm not going to break them down, break our food crops down. And we do have a bunch of homeless goats. So as soon as this ancient barn is done, we'll be able to put the goats into the barn and have a shepherd tend to them, which is that priority right there. And I'm not ready for my population to expand, so I'm going to break down the primitive huts and put the people in the primitive huts into the large ancient ones, instead of opening up new housing. So now everyone's in the large ancient houses, which is stellar. Alright, it's going to tell me that there's not enough space for stuff. Oh, really? My general stockpiles are full? Yes, they are. Alright. Then we need another ancient warehouse over here, too. Sorry, goats, I'm getting you a shepherd soon. Just hold down the fort. Uh-oh. More nomads. So this time I actually have a stockade gate. So if I say close all gates, the gate closes, and they would have to get through it to be able to, like, actually raid me. Which keeps a lot of the buildings back here safe from just, like, the random nomad that, like, breaches and starts to torch stuff. And the alarm's over, and the gate, like, automatically opens up. In fact, I don't even think we had any losses. Because I don't think anyone... No, maybe someone died. Well, maybe one person died. But, pretty good in the end of the day. So our food amount went from like 2 days up to 6, and it's only going to go up. So now that we have the ancient barn here, I can click animals, and it will assign the goats to the barn. And now this is a goat barn. They don't eat, like, there's a winter food consumption where we need to feed them straw in the winter. But otherwise, they just kind of like graze, and they won't interfere with the farm fields. So I don't need to actively worry about them, like, eating the crop. So ranched animals are pretty easy to manage that way. And let's copy and paste these food granaries over. So this one needs wicker baskets. Let's queue those up for another granary. And as you see, I'm moving the sort of food here around granaries, stone ovens. It's far more centralized now. And we're almost all flattened. Alright, it's November. Finish up the remaining farming tasks before it's too late. And warehouse warning for flax. Got it. Copy. This warehouse can't come any sooner. And this warehouse also requires baskets. So it's just a lack of a basket problem. Which we're solving with our tailors. Okay, almost a year's worth of food now acquired. I'm not too I'm out of the woods as far as like starvation goes, I think. Put a lot of effort into it. Did a lot with the farm fields. Good. So in order to finish the animal husbandry task, I'm going to destroy this old garden bed for flax. It's outdated. In fact, I'm going to destroy all of them. And repaint them at the end of the season. And we'll build another animal barn for pigs. And I'll just put it right next to the original one. That works fine. This is a lower priority. I'll get around to it to fulfill the animal husbandry tutorial. But I'm not fretting over it right now. Our prosperity is quite high. Yeah, let's get fruit cultivation. So one of the things we can do is we can collect apples, not in December, obviously, but we can collect apples from the apple trees around and then sow the apple trees within our walls so that we have fruit as a food source within our colony. And pear trees and eventually cherry trees and what was the last one? Plums. Snap peas, beets, turnips, beans, you know, huge variety you're eventually offered to unlock. Boom. Okay, sweet. So we should have storage space. This warehouse is the one that's filling up with the flax, so I'm going to need another tailoring warehouse to help with that. So I'll put that one here. And copy settings, paste settings, and this is my highest priority. And now that it is winter, I have a lot of labor to do a lot of work. So, as I've mentioned before, mega projects are best saved for the winter when, like, you don't have a lot of gathering to do. And I'm going to start putting in the road work. And in this case, anytime I want my colony to expand, I would just lower the terrain back here, allowing me to gain access to even more territory. So it's expandable to the south. I mean, technically, I could even do it this way, too. Because any terrain that goes to 0 becomes water, so I could add water if I wanted to. I just don't think... I'm not 100% sure when you add water if it works for adding fish to where the water is. That I'm a little fishy on. Does look like my food granaries are full up again, so let's get another one. In fact, let's just get 3. And then the other thing is to check my storage tents. So these old storage tents can also be upgraded to be higher quality, which I ought to do for better storage. In fact, getting like a proper food granary back here for seeds would be best. And it seems like the bottleneck for that is baskets. Because we have 20... Nope, it just changed. We have 18 spare clothing at the moment. I know about the linen overflow. I'm aware. I'm making a warehouse right now for it. You know what? I have so much clay. Stop gathering it. I think because I just like dragged a giant resource collection area, I ended up with like a bajillion clay. Don't need that much. Good lord. Uh-oh. That was a mistake. I marooned a section. So, order operation fail. Alright, there is the linen warehouse. Linen basket, hide clothing. So another thing is I'm not at the moment processing hides into pelts, because I got rid of all the the drying racks for it. The other thing I don't have yet over here is the tannery. So I'm going to put a tannery in. And a tannery creates leather, which is useful for linen clothing, because linen clothing is actually flax and pelts made into leather. And then we'll also put in the pelt racks as well. Alright, and then likewise, over in the food dryer, dried food is worth more than its non-dried counterparts, so I'll get food dryers around the granaries. Trying to cluster similar industries together with one another. Another thing I know is I've got, what, 73 cabbage seeds? So I really never need to make another cabbage seed. I've only got 20 carrot seeds, so I wouldn't mind getting some more carrot seeds. And I have 16 flax seeds. I definitely want more flax seeds. So I'm going to employ some more farmers again and put them in charge of turning flax and carrots into flax seeds and carrot seeds for next season. I'm going to do the same with the apple seeds too, so that I can start sowing apple seeds. Let's get one granary up pronto, because I have some food yet to be harvested. Oh, enemies! Oh, non-humans. We're back to mammoths. So, in this case, I could also just, like... Here, let me demonstrate. I could just stick everyone on the hill, and the ranged units will fire down on them, and just hold the high ground and shoot them as they attack my walls. So we'll try that method. It's also, and this is a good demonstration why I didn't just, like, instead of terrain modifications, why didn't you just use stockades? Because I know there's no, like, HP on these, but they're not that tough. However, the rabid mammoths can't understand pathing, making this a hyper-effective method to defend against animals, but it not very good against other nomads, because they'll burn everything. And the current priority I have for myself is lay out new industries. Because primitive metallurgy is just on the horizon, which allows me to start making copper tools. Proper copper tools, like out of ingots and the like. So for that, I need to collect a little bit more copper. It needs 100 copper total, and then some pickaxes made of that copper. So I have, let's make some more copper pickaxes. Come on, granary, go. This is a bottleneck of a lack of pottery. The other thing I was gonna say is it now makes sense for me to move the pottery hut back into the colony. So I'm going to do 2 pottery huts here because they will frequently get burned out there. And then I'm going to make this warehouse specifically for clay and pots. So this warehouse will only have clay and pots, replacing these 2 tents. And then this pottery hut will be placed over here instead. That way there will be travel time to collect the clay, but there's nothing to burn. Now, for fish, I have to fish where the fishes are. But for pottery, I can obviously do that within the safety and confines of my my colony. Springtime. So, important about springtime, annual plans. First and foremost, let's go ahead and improve the movement speed. Right off the bat, I have 37 carrot seeds, so garden bed of 40 or 36, good enough. Carrots, and put this to high. Then I have 16 flax seeds, which is not nearly enough. I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't able to make more flax seeds. That's just on my farmers, and this will be very high. Food dryers. Got apple, berry, meat, fish. I like to do double meat because you typically have more meat than other things. If you have hunters employed full-time. The other thing I've yet to do, and that's a bit of a mistake, is the other barn that I had. I actually hadn't queued up the boar, or soon-to-be pigs, to be tamed. So, looking around for some boar. I'll tame a wolf, because we only have 3 wolves for the 4 hunters. Boar. Dang it. Oh, wow. Whatever. I'll go way out here. There's also like it looks like a black hole. There's a spot that I haven't discovered yet. It looks so creepy. It's like a sinkhole of doom. Alright, with the tannery, we take 2 pelts, or 4 pelts to make 4 leather. And leather is eventually a component of higher quality clothing. So it's going to be useful to build up a supply of the leather ahead of time. And I just got a notification that an animal is tamed. So here's a shepherd with a pig. 2 pigs. Done. So 1 shepherd, 2 pigs. And with the animal limit, anything you go over the limit will be butchered for resources. For whatever resources are yield from that animal. So different animals yield different resources. So goats are milked and slaughtered for pelts, meat, and bones. And then pigs are slaughtered for a lot of meat, bone, and pelt. So pigs are your meat crop, and your goats are kind of mixed between milk and leather. And then eventually you get chickens, cows, sheep, cheese, etc. Alright, what warehouse is full? For linen clothing? For real? Oh, yeah, my bad. I didn't include linen or wool and clothing in the equipment here. Done. That was a raider. Raider dropped this clothing, and we can just benefit from it. I like how I'm allowed to tame a dead boar. What am I, a necromancer? Doubt. Alright, pottery hut. Let's phase this one out and destroy it, because it's in a vulnerable location. Might as well just move it now. And this... I jumped the gun. We actually don't have the warehouse for it yet. Ah, whatever, we'll get it. Feel like a bit of a dwarf. We like absolutely settled this village, carving our way into the mountain. One of the benefits of lowering the terrain, once you have deposits discovery, is it will reveal natural resources like copper, iron, or tin as you lower terrain, which makes them renewable in a sense. But I didn't have that unlocked before we started to do some massive terrain modifications. All right, tailors, you're back to let's go ahead with some more wicker baskets and more regular baskets. Can you make tunnels? Nope. I'm not 100% sure we got a whole lot of sewing done. Part of that is just my fault. I still am sporting a primitive, workshop, which is like, I'm long past due to actually improve that to something better, to like an ancient workshop. So I'm gonna put an ancient workshop here, and that will allow me to like, it's a nicer place to work and make more tools. But there we go. Here's our pottery warehouse. Okay. And all the food dryers are going full bore. So, once you have enough animals tamed, which I don't, you'll end up with, like, breeding pairs, where their population will keep up. And that wasn't the situation I had in. So I tamed, like, 2 boar, and then, like, one of them died, presumably of old age. It was not auto-slaughtered. And then I went down to 1 boar, which is not a sustainable population number. So I'm going to need to tame some more boar in order to keep our numbers up. This workshop, I think we're struggling to keep our, like the farming is too slow, so get some hoes, get some sickles. Sickles and hoes. Another thing we don't have, and this is what I really like about, like, town design, So I'm gonna destroy this old workshop and put another one next to the one I just built. What's good for town design is to have a warehouse right next to your town hall, in my opinion, that has equipment, or possibly two. Because when you rally everyone, they gather weapons and then muster at the town hall. So if you put all of your weapons right next to the town hall, it makes it easiest for them to outfit themselves with, like, whatever is available to fight with. So I'm going to put an ancient warehouse right here to that end. Because previously I had a storage tent here, but ancient warehouse is obviously going to store more stuff. And these are just like a lot of logical decisions for... Oh, speaking of which, town defense. So as you can see, the villagers are going into the hut, outfitting themselves with bows, spears, whatever's available. And they automatically grab whatever's best. And then the ones with bows will obviously muster automatically to the defensive stockpiles. And then everyone else is kind of like just here waiting. What are you, homeless pig? Yeah, that's my fault. Don't you burn that. And of course, if I still had my pottery out here, it probably would have just gotten torched. Nice. I don't think we had anyone die. Someone, yeah, this has such been a long neglected hillside. I will die on this hill! Because it took 12 generations to remove it. Yeah, there we go, the other workshop. So, primitive metallurgy just requires a few more copper picks. We'll get that in. It also would make sense for... I mean, it's possible that your hunter's hut could be... I like to put it on the edge of the inside of your town so the buildings can't get burnt. But there is some rhyme or reason to say that you should have an outpost outside where the animals are. For some of the extraction buildings, like the Gatherer's Hut, because I know I haven't highlighted Gatherer's Huts. Gatherer's Huts can be designated to collect one type of thing from an area. So, let's say I drop a Gatherer's Hut here for apples. There's a bunch of apple trees around here. Like, that's a way to kind of automatically collect apples, and that would be one of the ways that you can easily collect sticks or cobblestones. Actually, cobblestones is more of a mining thing. But it allows you to automatically collect certain items for ease of use. I haven't used them yet, but I do like them. I like the flexibility of being able to, like, automatically gather stuff. The problem is a lot of the stuff that you can gather has off seasons, and once it's off season, the gatherers aren't really doing anything. They're spinning their wheels. The other thing we have not yet researched in the Neolithic is deposit discovery. So in order to get that, we need to cut down some trees. It's also worth noting that just for the cost of one stick, you can plant your own trees within your own colony. And the poplar trees grow crazy fast. So I'm going to put 2 poplars here for, like, the beauty. And then just, like, whatever. I'll just dump a whole bunch there. I don't really care. I'm not planning on using this spot just yet, so that's a fine spot. Plus, I could... wow, words. I could, let's not do that. And instead, plant it on the shoreline here. 'Cause why not? It's free real estate. Seems smart. So, the ancient warehouse is all set. And what I'm going to try to do before the end of stream is to get deposit, research, and what was the last one I had? Metallurgy. Metallurgy would be the higher priority. And I just need a barely any prosperity for that. I'm just on the threshold. Done. Primitive metallurgy. So you've got a bloomery, and a smithy, and a charcoal pile. The bloomery allows you to take ores and make ingots out of it. 1, 2, 3. The charcoal pile allows you to burn wood into charcoal. And then the smithy allows you to smith essentially a very similar subset of metal tools here, but it's also includes hammers, which is more of a specialized tool. And they, I believe, make tools faster, if I'm not mistaken. So there we go, new industries. And there isn't the concept of like pollution, so having like a charcoal pile near the houses is no issue. And then all that's left in the Neolithic is deposits discovery, which I doubt I'll be able to get in time due to the prosperity requirements, but still, I will work towards it. All right, tailors. I've got a lot of clothing now, so let's do backpacks. I haven't unlocked any of the Neolithic laws, but obviously there's a lot of wonderful laws there. So, extracting faster, extracting automatic reconstruction if things break, automatically planning or expanding your annual planning for more slots for approved plans. Again, crafting limits to be able to say, I only want like 10 picks and then don't craft anymore. And that's like amazing. That's my favorite. Faster crafting. So, yeah. I hadn't done any of those laws. So here we go. The bloomery. The way these work, we're going to make copper ingots for now. Well, actually, no, you're fired because I don't have any charcoal. I just realized. Let's make charcoal first. And then for this to operate, obviously we're going to want a warehouse. So I'm going to put a warehouse here. Probably one of multiple eventually. But this is going to be a warehouse for ingots, plates, ores, charcoal. Yep. And then on the other warehouses, remove those. Copy. Actually, yeah. Paste, paste. Because this is for clothing and clothing. So specialized warehouse for smithing. There. And I'm closing down all the bloomeries because until I have some charcoal, they can't make any blooms. And with the primitive metallurgy, we also can now use tin ore. That's another thing that opens up. So if I go to the extraction menu for the ore digger camp, I can put an ore digger camp right in town for the 2 boulders with tin ore, and allows me to start to get tin, and then tin plus copper equals bronze. So the way the production will go is initially we just extract tin ore, but eventually you can make like bronze tools and then all the way down to eventually iron stuff too. Down, down, down the line. Stupid bison wandering in on my own doorsteps. Oh, yes, it did finish. True dat. It's going to complain that there's not enough stuff for warehouses because there's nowhere valid to store the charcoal until this warehouse is built. And then that goes away. Animal born. We got more piggies. Cool. And now that we have some charcoal, we can start to make blooms. For now, I'm just going to have one person doing it. I don't need that many. But the reason why I have 3 is eventually you have, like, copper, tin, bronze. And then bronze is 3 ingots of copper, 1 ingot of tin. So you're going to want to extract about 3 times more copper than tin to keep things, you know, level. Because there's virtually no use for tin by itself. So you don't want to amass tin. Amassing copper's fine because there's copper tools, but amassing a whole bunch of tin, you know, isn't going to get you very far. All right, what? I don't have enough room for seeds. Yep, that actually makes sense. That because I have not been keeping up with that. So I think because seeds don't decay very quickly, I'm going to put a ancient warehouse over here for seeds instead of a granary. So copy and paste, and this should be able to store 256 seeds. So that's pretty much all the seeds I'm ever going to need, I imagine. And my workshops, you can't make hammers because you don't have ingots. I don't know why I queued that up before everything else. Let's do pick. Sickle. And they're doing sickle too. Yeah, I could go down 2 and I won't get stuck. True. Get it level. I can also start prepping, like, the back hills here for, like, future. And then just set them to, like, very low priority. So it's like, hey, when you're idle, you can start chipping away at future expansion projects. It's a useful way to have, like, overflow work, I guess. Here's our little poplar grove. Slowly coming in. One of the other benefits of poplar is, like, as they mature, yearly they'll get sticks. So it gives you a renewable source of sticks, and I mention that because I have 0 at the moment. Right? I'm, like, totally out, which is going to cripple my tool production and other things until I start harvesting it. So it does make sense to have, like, some poplars growing for wood, and then some old-growth poplars for sticks. I'm also at a point where, for my tailor huts, I'm going to start pivoting from pelt to linen, because I have 36 leather, and I have 158 flax. So I'm going to stop making flax seeds because I have exactly 50, which is like a pretty good round number to end at, and start to turn all of my flax into linen and all my linen into linen clothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue this up where we make linen fabric and linen clothing, and linen fabric is 1 linen, 1 leather, and it will be continuously produced. And that's also partially because our ancient warehouses are pretty dang full, and it wouldn't hurt to start using up that linen. And there we go. We have some ingots. So ancient workshops, they're frozen because I don't have sticks. which is a funny problem to have. Here we go. A very vintage story problem to have. Let's hit the sticks. Hit a stack of sticks. And it's also November, so it's like the last chance to... I should probably not have high priority it, because it's the last chance to do like field harvests, and these fields do not look harvested much at all. Which is... we have almost a year's worth of food, so it's probably not going to cause any food shortages, but like rather unwise if I say so myself. But with this raid pending, I think this is where I am going to leave off for this stream. Thank you for tuning in to Humanica, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow tribesmen.